Hey, Spectrum, or do you want Slant? It's me, Sparkles with Other. Come to this video. I am doing more Minecraft mobs as dragons. Originally, I was going to do 3, but I decided to bump it up to 5, just because I had an idea for a Vex dragon, and I wanted to do the Evoker and Vex in the same video. But I also got an idea for a skeletal one, so that was in there. So I bumped up to 4. Then I decided to go for an extra one because I prefer to keep my numbers balanced on my IBX Paint app. So that happened. The 5 I used went in this order: skeleton, then I did a slime, which is what I'm going to be using for my Podcast Community redraw, but not this version. I'm going to be using a superhero version in another video I'm going to be making next week. And then I have my, then I'm using the Evoker, followed by a Vex, followed by what was it called? A Hoglin. So, yeah. And they're all true dragons, except for the, Drake, except for the slime, which is a Drake, sorry. Now let's roll intro and let's get into this video. Let's go. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. Okay, it's been a while since I actually went to and visited this the colony that had a bunch of different types of dragons. One of my personal favorites was the Emptifear, was that Phantom Emptifear one. That was a pretty cool one, to be honest. But now this one is just a bunch of true dragons and one Drake. The first one is actually a very common one, but I never saw it while I was around, most likely because they say that it's only being able to be found near graveyards, or just graveyards that have been destroyed so much, or graveyards just pretty much anywhere that someone was buried. But then again, these things always rise up and walk out and always look around. On rare occasions, they are actually coming out with swords intact, but most of the time they actually come in with bows and arrows. It seems they have a near unlimited supply of arrows. But these are actually skeletal remains of different types of dragons, and these are very dangerous. These are actually part of the Weapon-tailed family, same family that is under the Razor. That's actually the main one is Razortail, and then a bunch of offshoots. That the Razortail lead to the Swordtailed. But this one is actually pretty interesting because of the fact of what it can do. Now, what I mean by that is because what they can do is that they actually have a bow on the end of their tail, and much like the bow-winged wyvern, they actually have 2 extra claws on there that pull the string back, and an arrow is summoned there, and they can shoot it. There is no arrow part on them at all. It's almost like they make these things themselves. They use magical energy to actually hold themselves together. They do burn in sunlight, just like the Phantom Emptifear I talked about. And these things are huge. Somehow they're able to fly even though they only have skeletal remains of wings. I've looked at it and actually used a small lightning spell, and I've actually seen that even though these things are known to be in the dead of night, they do actually have some type of wings. The magic they use is actually more concentrated in the wings to actually give them more of a physical form, so that way they can fly. But their tail is a lot longer than your average tail for a dragon. And I've actually looked at it. I've actually killed one of these things, and they are actually known to be found in caves, but I looked in and carved open the bones and found that they reek of magic. So, yeah, that's there. And they're mostly conjured up by necromancy spells. And trust me, those things are a pain. Because I've seen a few necromancers and those guys aren't pretty. Although there's a few rare, nice ones that actually help people. Like I was saying, the bow, you can actually make this into a long bow, which is actually very effective when you use it. But, they are just very powerful dragons. Their wingspan is actually around, get this, 100 feet, so that makes them full-on true dragon. And the body length is actually closer to 150 feet. So they're very long. That extra, their head from snout to before their tail is actually around I want to say 100, and so their actual head is around 5 feet long. The rest of their body and all that, from the neck down, when their wings start, that's actually around, so that's 5 feet, 100 feet going back, all the way to the wings, and then right there, and then maybe another 25 feet, and then their tail is just straight out, so 5, 25, that makes 30, 130 feet, that makes around 20 feet worth of tail. So, yeah, you can see that these things are very pain and very big. They aren't actually that big of a pain to kill. They're actually surprisingly low health for such a big creature. But their health is actually, you can actually see their health by using a special magic known as stat magic. It's mostly used to see how strong a creature is, like how much damage it will do to you, as in like how many hits you can take before you're dead levels of information. And how many ticks it would take you for it to kill it. It literally says for me, you just need to sneeze in the thing's direction, it'll just crumple the bone. And which is kind of true. Now let's get to the next one. And I forgot to mention the last one was known as the skeletal bone-tailed dragon, or skeletal dragon. And this one is known the Infam, a formous leaping slime drake, or leaping slime jack, or better known as LSD. That's hilarious, to be honest. The reason why is because these things love a small smell, then high concentrations actually make you go high, like regular mushrooms. But these things are actually used and the gas is actually liquidized, and the mushrooms are actually dunked in there and soak it up. And they are then used as a recreational drug. That makes people even more flat out crazy and cuckoo. I've seen it before, and trust me, for a bad trip it's pretty ugly, but for a good trip it's pretty nice. I've used them once before. I've actually had one good trip and one bad trip. So, yeah, I can tell the difference. The bad trip is horrendous, like living out your average nightmare. Your worst nightmare, I mean. Their back legs are very concentrated of the slime. So that means they can leap pretty far distances since they're leaping part. But, they also are Cyclops dragons, which I still don't know how my overseer managed to make them, because usually these dragons are actually having 2 eyes. But, trust me, it's quite weird. For the most part, they are green, and they actually have spikes raining down their back. When their heads lean straight forward, they're from head to back before the tail end starts. They're standing at around 20 feet, and their tail is actually around if I remember correctly, half their body length, so around 10 feet. And this one is actually, when killed, get this, it splatters apart and reforms into smaller ones. So yeah, and the smallest ones actually get to around 6 inches tall, and these things are actually quite easy to take care of. The way you can tell that they're starting to grow is by their, and like these things can actually grow. But on the rare cases when you find their eggs, trust me, you would want to get one, because I've heard their yolk and their food, they can actually make some pretty delicious eggs. But for taming wise and guarding wise, they are actually really good. Just like a Samling Shrine, a Shambling Slime Drake from another world in Popcross's multiverse. There is that they can actually spit out and launch some globs of their slime. It can actually harden, but doesn't burn you in this world. Instead, it just hardens and actually makes it near impossible to break out. The more magic or strength power their owner has, the more powerful they will have. And for me, I actually have one. Uniscent Bond. The thing, literally, it's so strong, I could use it as a wall level. Like a, like, you know how you use cement to actually seal your walls together? I have actually, used that as the cement. And the thing hardens so well, I've launched a full-on 50 caliber round and explosive rounds into it. Barely a dent. I've coated the entire thing in it now. But then you're also able to stick a regular wall to it, and then have it actually reduce into a more liquid form, spray it, and it still handles its regular texture, but it's still actually see-through. It's a small, with a slight green tint to it, but trust me, even that small amount, dong! Trust me, someone would flick it, breaks their finger. So, yeah, it is a very strong stuff. Now, for speed-wise, they're actually rarely used for racing tricks, but on the times they are, they can easily hit around 60 miles per hour. But they're mostly used in actually leaping racing competitions, or leaping competitions, seeing how far each dragon can leap. Now, it's very rare for people to actually use these because they consider it cheating, but they on small times they actually do breed them with a crackling Draco, and trust me, those hybrids are powerful. If I remember correctly, the next time my overseer is going to talk about them, he actually will talk about the Flaming Slime Drake and the Amorphous Leaping Slime Drake hybrid. And trust me, those things are very powerful and very, very scary when you have to fight them. But overall, they actually live to be around before they just croak over and die from natural age. They can actually live to be around 100,000 years or so. These things can be pretty old. And for the skeletal dragon, they can live to be around before they just, either they can burn up, or surprisingly, they can actually die around 500,000 years. So yeah, those things get pretty old. Let's get to the next one. Now the next one is known simply as Near Undying Summoning Dragon, or New Summoning Dragon. These dragons actually are very, very powerful, but they can also be very dangerous. They have this one ability for their tail is actually more of a bear trap design, and it can actually clamp down on their opponents and actually break bones. So trust me, these things can get quite vicious, and these things are actually known to be found in dark oak forests in this world, and their cave networks are actually full of other types of these dragons. There's also these outposts that are underground. Trust me, these things aren't pretty. They aren't very pretty. Each one holds one or two types. This one, I've actually investigated one of these, and they're known as underground cave mansions because of how big they are. I've actually found a few of these dragons, slain them, but also cataloged their abilities. And according to my journal, height, well, technically length, their height, pretty much all regular dragons have the same height, which is around 50 feet tall, just from their bottom to the ground of their head, and an extra 50 feet for their wings. So they stay around 100 feet tall. Height, 100 feet. kind of regular for your regular dragon. Name, the name I already told y'all, common name, same thing. But their weight is actually very light, weighing in around a ton, whereas these dragons would usually weigh pretty heavy. Their wingspan is actually closer to around 50 feet. Their head to tail end, not head before tail end, is around 25 feet. Their tail stands in around 30 feet. And abilities, tail is a bear trap design, clamps down on opponent, is actually able to summon other bear trap like things temporarily using sulfide magic energy. Other secret powers, summoning lesser dragons, very small ones though. I'm talking maybe around 5 inches in height. So trust me, but they are very big pain to kill because of the fact they are intangible. They are another breed of ghost dragons. These things are actually also sword-tailed dragons. Because of how small they are, they're actually classified as razor-tailed dragons. But since they're their tails are so strong, they're actually classified as sword-tailed dragons. Note, these things are a pain in the butt to kill, and if you're trying to kill them, use an actual freaking physical weapon. No spiritual weapon will be able to kill these things in catalog. So, yeah, they are very, very pain in the butt thing to kill. So, now speaking of those small dragons, let's go and see what they're like. I really hate them. Now, from here on, I'm just going to be able to be going through my catalogs. Because I can't really think of any major stories or any major events that I've actually managed to fight. Same thing. On the next page, again on the back of the other one, I wrote the catalog for this one. Stands at around 10 feet tall, although from head to ground is around 5 feet. But very small in general for a dragon of its caliber. These things are intangible and are a very big pain in the butt to kill. Name is actually Blade-tailed Dragon. Also, common name, Ghastly Dragon. Also, these things are known as Vexes in the surrounding areas. Full length is around 10 feet from head to tail, before tail, it's around 10 feet. Tail stands at around 5 feet with a 2-foot long sword into it. Has 3 claws on each foot. Has a very angry expression like its summoner, although the horns of it are actually a lot bigger. It's actually a dark gray to blue shading, although their wings are actually a dark gray, well, technically a light gray color. Their tail is actually made of iron, which is weird on the account that these things are usually repelled by iron, but these things have an immunity to it, it appears. And I just go on and on, going on about these things. But also, I want to tell y'all some other things I found out. They aren't able to be harmed by any other regular weapon, like I already stated. Well, any other regular thing besides regular weapons. Now, they have seen an immunity to their iron weaponry, but to actually cast iron weaponry, oh, doggy, that does a lot of damage. To the point that it vaporizes them on impact. But the stronger ones, they are more of a pain. The reason why they're such a pain is, according to my logs, note, these things are a pain to kill because they're intangible. I've tested any material. The only thing that seems to not be able to see, the only thing they seem not to be able to go through is actually, get this, magical barriers, even though I've tested these things, and they should be able to go through because they're actually magical spirits that are actually customly summoned and made by the previous dragons, the Inu summoning dragons. Though these dragons are just a giant nuisance and a pain in the butt to kill, but overall, but in one-on-one combat, they are a pain, but they're pretty easy to kill because of their low amount of health. But in numbers, they are very dangerous. On average, the Inu summoning dragon can actually summon about what was the name of these creatures? It was the ghastly dragons at about 10 at a time. So these things are very, very strong and a very giant pain in the arse to kill because of their large numbers. Now let's get to the next one. Now for the final one, it is actually found in another dimension. I've talked about some other dragons like it was some type of tentacle dragon. I'm trying to find it. It was the fire spewing tentacle hydra or fire spewing hydra. These things are found in the same dimension, except for the fact they are able to fly, but they spend most of their time on the ground. Their tail is actually very small. And now this is what I'm going to be going from my catalog. Entry number, how many have I gone over so far? Creature name. The creature is known as Titanic Tusked Boar Dragon. Commenting, Tusked Boar Dragon. Height, regular for a dragon of this size, but is actually smaller. From ground head is around 25 feet. Scratch that, 20 feet. And from their head to the top of the wings is actually around another 20 feet. So 40 feet in height. Weird, because these things are actually a true dragon, even though they're a lot smaller. Wingspan, 100 feet total. Body length from head to before tail is around 20 feet. Well, scratch that, 75 feet. And the tail is actually the remaining 25 feet. But scratch that again because I re-looked and it's actually only around 10 feet. So these things are 85 feet in length. They are very aggressive, and it appears another breed of dragon actually hunts them for food. They are very aggressive to anyone. And it appears that only a special type of mushroom actually wards these things off. And it's in a dome-like area. Like, if they were to fall down into the dome, they would actually start freaking out and actually trying to find a way out. And note, this can actually be used to actually make a nice farming area to get some good food from. These things actually do only have 2 claws per foot, but other than that, I can't really find anything else except for their pig-like faces and their tusks that come out of their mouths. These things are also known to charge and actually knock their opponents off the edge into the fiery lava pits below. So be careful when trying to defend one of these things. When killed, they are pretty much the same thing as regular boars, but I hear their bacon and pork is actually very, very good. And I've actually tried the stuff before. It is stupidly good. It's just like the spiciness is from that place itself. It's spicy enough to where I can take it, and pretty much the average person can. But you can actually have more spiciness added to it by adding different parts of it. The muscles near its feet are actually the spiciest areas, and those people are actually in order to shred it up and actually stuff it into the extra not so spicy areas for people that actually want some very spicy food. But that's all the information I have for these dragons. Now, see ya. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video, because that's all the time I got for today. Until next time, subscribe to join the Spike Storm or Dominionist Alliance. Goodbye, and peace out, everyone.